Good afternoon. I'm Priscilla Ingle, Vice President of Customer Relations and Sales for VIA Metropolitan Transit. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. Yo soy Priscilla Ingle, Vicepresidenta de Servicio al Cliente y Ventas de VIA Metropolitan Transit. Para todos que prefieren participar en español, oprima estrella cero. Thank you for joining us today for this virtual VIAtrans workshop. Over the next hour, we will be discussing our VIAtrans service via service options for persons who cannot utilize our regular bus service because of a disability. This is an opportunity for us to speak directly with you, answer your questions, and listen to your comments live during this workshop. Today, we'll be discussing how to ride the VIAtrans service. You'll get tips on how to be able to use the service. And you'll also hear about our new Paratransit service technology. This workshop gives us a chance to speak directly with the community we serve and answer as many questions as possible. This is an interactive forum, and we want to hear from you. Throughout the call, we will also be asking you a couple of survey questions, and we'd like to get your responses. If you have a question, you can press *3 on your phone pad at any time, and you will be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, you will be live on the call and will be able to ask your question to us directly. Y para los participantes que prefieren escuchar en español, bienvenidos. Favor de oprima la estrella y cero para escuchar en español. For our phone participants, we'd like to invite you to watch the live stream by visiting viainfo.net/townhall. For our attendees participating on the website, you can submit your questions in the chat box below the streaming player. If you're watching us live on Facebook, feel free to submit your questions in the comment section of our Facebook for our Facebook moderator, who will answer your questions in the chat and share them with our panel. As Vice President of Customer Relations and Sales, I value the chance to hear from you directly. VIAtrans trips are available for any purpose and connect riders to work, school, medical appointments, pharmacies, and to visit their loved ones. Access to safe, reliable, and affordable mobility options is key to uplifting our community. As VIAtrans riderships continues to grow, your insights will help ensure we meet the evolving needs of our customers. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce to you the person who will be joining me today, and that is Carolyn Doughterty, our Manager of ADA and Accessible Services. Many of you probably contact her first to learn how to make yourselves available to use our service. So Carolyn, thank you for joining us. Would you like to give any comments before we get started with your first presentation?
I'm just glad to be here, and I appreciate being able to talk to folks and share information.
Great. And we've got a lot of exciting things going on in our VIAtrans service area, so we're able to talk to you about some of those services that we offer. Again, I'd like to remind you that it is an interactive forum, and we want to hear from you. We are currently live and will be taking as many questions as possible from our participants during this next hour. If you have any questions, you can press *3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you will be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, you'll be live on the call and will be able to ask your question to us directly. Y para los participantes que prefieren escuchar en español, bienvenidos. Favor de oprima la estrella y cero para escuchar en español. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're turning to you, Carolyn, and if you could we'll begin our discussion by learning on how to ride and use our VIAtrans service. Many of you may already be customers with us, but there may be some tips that Carolyn can share with you to help make your ride a little bit easier. So we'll turn it over to you, Carolyn.
Thank you. Yes. We can go ahead and there we go. So I am here to, as Priscilla said, reminders on how to use the VIAtrans services. We do have lots of new people that ride our service and many folks that have been on our service for many years. And with the increases in ridership, I've noticed that there have been some common gaps and ways that we might be able to help make sure that everyone is familiar with the services. So today I'll share a few of those reminders with us. So to schedule a trip, you can call or go online to the VOS portal on the website to make the reservation, and you do those 1 to 4 days in advance. As those are shared rides, we do recommend that instead of setting your trips up to be scheduled by what time you're getting picked up at home, you schedule them for what time you arrive at your destination. And that way you don't worry about running late and missing trips and things of that nature. And we also recommend that for medical appointments that you use our will call feature. And the will call is where when you have a medical appointment, you don't give a set pickup time. Instead, you have a will call slot scheduled. And then when you're finished with your appointment, you call back to reservations and let them know that you have a will call scheduled and you're ready. And then they come get you at that time. And that also helps you avoid any kind of no-show violations for not having been there when your ride was ready if your doctor's office ran a little bit late. We also recommend that whenever you do have a reservation scheduled, that you do call at least 1 hour before the scheduled pickup to cancel if necessary. We also have the added benefit of having the ability to use the taxi subsidy service, which is it's a same-day trip that you can use along with ViaLink. If you live in one of those areas and you're going back and forth within those areas, it gives you another way to get around town and not have the longer trip times that can happen with the ViaTrans depending on time of day, as well as same day. Next slide, please.
And Carolyn, while we're moving to the next slide, I'd just like to remind our participants, if you do have any questions for us, please be ready to give us a call and we'll have you in line so that we can get a response to you.
All right. So to prepare for a ViaTrans trip, you want to make sure that on the day of your trip that you just verify on VOS or by calling in the time of your trip. You want to make sure that you pack entertainment and that you have, maybe a bottle of water, any medications you might need, and any other necessities for being out of your home and away from your things for several hours. The other thing is, it's south of Texas, so the weather changes frequently. So we recommend considering things like an umbrella and sunscreen, and decide in advance if you're going to have someone travel with you. If you'll have a PCA, personal care attendant, traveling with you, you just need to make sure that that's included in your reservation so that they can have a seat for everyone when they get there. And the next slide, please. So on the day of your trip, we want to make sure that you grab your ViaTrans ID card or a valid photo ID, which can be, like your state ID or a passport, any kind of photo ID that's still valid and in good standing. And if you're going to use that instead of a ViaTrans ID card, you just also need to know your ViaTrans ID number when the driver gets there to pick you up. We encourage you to have your fare ready just to help expedite getting everybody on and making sure that we don't have delays in service. So the fare for our patrons is $2. If you have a PCA that's traveling with you, they do ride for free. It's $2 if you have a companion traveling with you and 90 cents for an accompanying child. We also wanted to remind you that on the day of your trip, we do ask that you be outside at the curb 10 minutes before the scheduled pickup so that the driver can see you and that you don't risk missing your trip if they're running on the earlier side of that scheduled window.
And before you continue, I'd like to remind our participants to press *3 to get into the queue to ask your questions.
All right. So one of the other things that I thought would be helpful to share with our group is some frequently asked questions that we get. So what do I need to do to cancel my trip same day? And you can go online. There's an automated way to do that through the 362-5050 number or through our VOS portal. The next one is, if the van is late, what should you do? And that is also, you can check on the VOS portal to see the estimated arrival time. There's a real-time map that shows you the vehicle, or you could always call the 5050 number, again, that 362-5050, and they can give you an update on the arrival time. When going to the grocery store, how many bags can you bring? And the answer is 2, and they must be able to fit comfortably on your lap. And the driver is not able to help carry items on or off of the van. So just make sure it's something that you can manage on your own. My VIAtrans card expires next month. What should I do? To answer that, you would just need to call our office at Accessible Services. That's the 210-362-2140. And we can take a look and see. We do mail cards out 2 months before they expire. So if you haven't gotten it, we might not have a good mailing address. So you might want to give us a call. If you have lost your VIAtrans ID card, to get a new one, you can come into the Via Metro Center at 1021 San Pedro, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and they can get you squared away. And next slide. If you have any questions, please feel free to call them in, and we will be happy to answer.
Thank you, Carolyn, for the information. I do have one question that might be of interest to the people that are participating. Can you explain a little bit how the taxi subsidy works? Can they call any taxi company to get the ride, or how does that work for the customer?
Yeah, absolutely. The taxi subsidy works. There's a phone number that's in our customer service guide, and page 38, I believe, and it gives you the phone number to the actual taxi company that we use, which is Z-Trip, and you schedule those same day trips. And they do cover approximately 3 miles of a trip. It's about a $9 that they will that we pay for it. So you pay your $2 and then up to 3 miles via covers. And then if you go over that, then you cover the difference.
Okay, sounds great. We do have a live caller with us. Her name is Maria. Maria, please share your question with us.
Can't bring why? No matter any type of card you can't bring because distraction.
Hello.
Boys, basically you can, and no weapons left.
Hello.
All right, we'll just go ahead and move on. Do we have another question on the line?
Yes. Yes. This is Margaret. I live between 410 and 1604 South, and I cannot get services out here on weekends, Monday through Friday, Saturday or Sunday. Why is that?
Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear that, Margaret. I know that can be frustrating. The areas that you're talking about used to be serviced by our fixed route bus on a 5-day schedule. And so we do have VIAtrans that's still providing service to those areas, but only on the schedule that it used to be on. So that's the reason why.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the paratransit service follows the bus service. So if there is a change to a route, there is a possibility that the service that's available for VIAtrans in that area might be altered as well. So whenever you hear about any bus service changes that are coming into place or into operation, please give us a call so we can walk you through that, so we can let you know how your service is affected, or if it's even affected at all. We try to be very careful about how we make those adjustments, but in some cases, like in Margaret's case, the service was altered somewhat, and so it did limit the availability of service in the area. We do have another live caller named Roy. Roy, what is your question?
Yeah, good afternoon. My question is, last weekend I was told I usually ride the service going home at night from the Palladium IMAX theater going back home. A couple of drivers had mentioned to me that they're going to start using another belt that goes across your waist, and that started this past Monday, and I just found out myself, and I was wondering why it took so long for me to let the clients know about that. They could have put it on VOS under the note, and I was wondering why couldn't they do that?
That's an excellent question, and I do apologize, but I don't know offhand. But I will be happy to look into it and to reach back out to you if we've got your contact information. It was from
And
the
I was
police.
wondering, does that apply to the VIAtrans big vans or just the small vans?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Because I know at night after 7 o'clock, the small vans take over. It's a different company. It's not Via. It's another company.
I think what you're talking about is MV, the contractor that does of our VIAtrans trips. They should follow the same policies and pickups and notes for all of our trips. So we can definitely follow up on that with you as well.
Yeah, and I was told that I don't know if it's true. I can accept the belt that they're gonna put around the new belt that they're gonna put around me. It's like a red belt that goes across your waist, besides what they put already that's in the van. And I was told that I could either accept the new belt that they put around me, or I could not accept it. Is that true or false?
Yeah, it is correct. It's called a posy belt, and it's just an additional security safety feature for you. You're welcome to use it or not, as they indicated. It's just an extra securement in the event, heaven forbid, that there was an accident. It would make sure that you are, more firmly secured on the trip.
Okay. And I have one more question. And earlier I heard you say that if we don't have our ID, we can use our like a Texas ID. Say, for example, if I'm outside waiting for my van and all of a sudden, oh shoot, I forgot my VIAtrans ID, but I have my Texas ID. You're saying that I can use that as reference to get on the van as long as I know my ID number?
Yes, that's exactly correct. As long as you know your VIAtrans ID number and you have a valid photo ID, then you're absolutely able to ride. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Great.
my question to that would, how come the VIA drivers don't know about that? Because I was told that if you don't have your VIAtrans ID with the number of your ID and your picture on it, then you cannot get on the van.
We can definitely look at reminding drivers of that policy, but that was changed a couple of years ago. So we'll definitely take care of that. Thank you very much for your questions, Roy.
Yeah. And Carolyn, the reason for having the photo ID is so that we can make sure that we're picking up the right person, correct? So
Exactly.
It's really for your safety to have a photo ID with you when you board a VIAtrans van, so we can make sure we've not left the wrong person behind and picked up somebody different. But we do have a Facebook question we'd like to move on to. And the question is, how do I make a reservation for an apartment? I use Voss all the time, but don't know how to do that for an apartment unit. I guess this person lives in apartment units. How would that work for them?
That's a great question, and it's one that we had to iron out when we first started out with Voss. And when you're entering the address, it has to match our system exactly. So make sure that when you're typing in the street name, Fredericksburg Road, for example, you put in Fredericksburg space and then RD to match the address exactly. For the apartment number, there's a box for the unit number. You just type your unit number. So if you live in 405, then you would just put 405. You do not put APT or a pound sign or anything like that. It won't recognize the address if you have anything except a number in the apartment field. So that's the best way. And if you have trouble with making a reservation with Voss after that, I would call reservations and ask them how the address is formatted so that you can then make the reservations going forward.
All right, great, Carolyn. So we do have some poll questions that we want to share with our participants and get their feedback. And so we want to start with our first poll question of the day, and that is, how often do you use VIAtrans service? Do you use it once a week? If you do, press 1. Press 2 if you use it 2 to 5 times a week. Press 3 if you use it 6 to 10 times a week. Press 4 if you use it more than 10 times a week. And then if you never use VIAtrans service, if you'll press 5, and we'll get those answers, and then we will get the results back to you. So we do have a question submitted by Maya. It was submitted through our streaming service. How can we use the taxi subsidy service?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Maya. As we were talking about earlier, you called the number for Z-Trip that is in the customer service guide that everyone is given when you start service. If you need a new copy of that, you can call Accessible Services. We're happy to mail you out a new one, or you can pick one up from us. And so you just call them and you schedule a same-day trip with them. And the fare, like we discussed, is you pay that same $2, and Via covers the next $9, which is about 3 miles. And as long as you're going in that span, then that's all it will cost. If you go beyond that distance, then there is an additional fare that you'll pay for them directly.
All right, thank you for that. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next presentation, and it's about paratransit service technology that we're going to be introducing. So I will turn it over to you, Carolyn, and we can get started with letting our participants know about these new features that we're going to be adding to our service. And then also, I'd like to remind you before Carolyn gets started, if you do have a question for us and you want to enter into the queue, please press *3. So take it away.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to be talking about the paratransit service technology that we've been working on. Next slide, please. So we do have old software, which is currently the Trapeze Pass, and it's been used for scheduling and taking care of these kinds of features for us for a long time. And we're working on upgrading that and updating it to modernize and be more efficient, to have a better outcome for our patrons and people that are using our services. And so that reservations and scheduling and dispatching will all have an optimized experience. All right, next slide, please. This is just kind of going over the time frames for and the items that are going to be addressed on the upgrade. And that includes everything from managing eligibility and how my team, for example, takes care of data entry and things of that nature, to the web, mobile app, scheduling, monitoring our performance indicators, and the reporting features that we get back to be able to look at our data and how people are using the service and in what ways that we can better serve our community with that. Next slide, please. So the timeline is currently it's currently underway. Right now, we are working on reviewing the various vendors and the options, and by we hope to have it executed within the next 6 months or so. Next slide, please. And any questions, go ahead and give us a call.
All right, thank you for that. So really the whole purpose of this is to make it more efficient for our customers, but also then on our end, we improve efficiency so that we can get back to customers should they have questions or information about their trips, trip patterns, that sort of thing.
Exactly, that's exactly it. And making sure that, because with more data comes more ability to be flexible and to help and to do more trips for people.
So does the customer, are they going to need to have a better access to a computer or some type of technology to be able to plan their trips, or will it change for them at all, or everything kind of stays the same?
It should be fairly seamless. It should all integrate with our current access so that we won't have any kind of additional technology or anything needed.
Great.
It'll be a seamless transition for our customers.
Because sometimes people offer new technology, but then you need a new phone, a new app. For our customers, everything will stay the same on there, and that's great.
Yes.
All right, so we do have our poll results from the first question that was asked about how often you use the service, and it looks like we've got 10% of our participants today who use it once a week. We have 49% who are using it 2 to 5 times a week. 30% are using it 6 to 10 times a week. And then we have 8% that are using it more than 10 times a week. And then we've got 3% that never use the service, but we're glad that you're participating and learning more about our VIAtrans service. So we'd like to go back to our callers with questions. So we're going to start with Tricia. Tricia, you have a question for us?
Yes, I'm right here. I was trying to find out if you guys are going to have a scheduling app, or is everything always going to be online?
That's a good question. Do we have plans to do that where they can do it off an app? They can plan the trips?
It is my understanding that we are going to integrate it as part of the scheduling with the VOS functionality, VOS with the new Via app, that it should all be launched together. That is a work in progress, but
Right.
It is something that we are working towards, absolutely.
Okay, so we are looking in the future to pull together a new app. And so with that app, we'll have additional features that we don't have right now, and this should be one of them. But you're going to have to give us some time to do that because it does take a while for us we're pulling new technology together to get it all kind of where it needs to be for not only ourselves, but for our customers so that they have a great experience when they're using it. So we do have a call from Mary. I believe you've got a call about our scheduling. Please let us know what your question is. Mary, you're on live. Would you like to share your question with us? All right, then let's go ahead. Oh wait, I think we just heard from Mary. Mary, you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I asked all the questions I needed to ask. It was about the transportation map that, they can go pick you up or you have to wait or what, ma'am, because I've called and the doctors tell me, go ahead, and you'll be out in an hour, and sometimes I get out before. Can they pick me up before, or do I have to wait for the time that I said they can pick me up?
So what does happen with our customers that they're at a doctor's appointment, and in her case it runs late? What can they do? What do we do? How do we handle that with the trip being scheduled at a certain pickup time, but they're not ready?
And that is it's why we have the will call feature, is so that we understand that there is a certain amount of flexibility required because medical appointments sometimes run late.
Right.
And so because of that, we do have that will call feature so that you set it up where you're not giving a set time. And that way, if your doctor is running late, you don't have to worry about missing your trip or having a no-show event or anything like that, because when you're finished with the appointment, you just call and let us know that you're ready, and we'll come pick you up then instead of having to be on a set time.
Mm-hmm. Now, so if there's people like Mary, we have customers, and they don't know about the Will Call program, who can they call to get more information? I know we probably have it also on our website, but if they want to talk to somebody to walk them through it, I know I feel more comfortable if I can talk to somebody about it. Can they give us a call on the reservation line and they'll take care of that for them?
Absolutely. They can definitely give you information on that.
All right, Mary. So if you do have more questions about that, give us a call and one of our reservation agents will help you with that. Okay, let's move on to Shirley. We've got a question from Shirley.
One question is that I work with people that are intellectually disabled. All right, they have to get VIAtrans to go to work. The VIAtrans goes right past where they need to get off, or within one block of where they need to get off, and take them to the far side of town and then come all the way back. Why do that and waste time? Why can't they just drop them off right then?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I understand that can be very frustrating when you know that you're kind of going around and about to get to your position or to your location. And the reason is that the scheduling is set up in advance and it's based on a whole bunch of factors, and they have to accommodate getting everyone where they need to be. That's why sometimes you're on the van for, up to and sometimes longer than 2 hours between pickup and drop off, because they're trying to make sure that everyone gets there by the time that they need to be there. And that's why you may not get to, the folks may not be able to get there earlier than they intended, but they'll still be there on time, just a little bit of driving around.
All right, thank you for the question. We now have Amanda on the line who's got a question for us. Amanda, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Amanda.
I was trying to get the subscription because I use Via to come to work every day. And so, well, I try to use it, but a lot of times I can't use it because when I'm trying to schedule, I use VOS, and there's no slots for me to be able to pick to where I can come to work on time. So therefore, I can't do the 2 weeks that we have to do consistently before they can even give us the subscription.
Yeah. So I recommend. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I recommend that two things. One, you can schedule trips up to 4 days in advance. And if VOS is not giving you the option for the time slot that you want, if you call the reservations number, those agents can get you what you're looking for or within pretty close to it to get you there on time. And if you're calling those in 4 days in advance, you know, you're scheduling them out like that, then you only have to call twice a week for the 2 weeks in order to get the number of trips set up for the subscription to be able to go into effect. So that might be a way to be able to get around that.
All right. Thank you for that. Go ahead. Continue. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so when I call, I can schedule them out. I don't have to do it 1 day at a time.
Yes, you can schedule them out on VOS as well as with an agent up to 4 days in advance. Either way, but yeah, for sure on the phone, they can get you in into different, because they can see the schedules and they can fit people in where VOS doesn't have the availability to do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, thank you for your question. We do have somebody on the phone by the name of Janet, and she was asking how to load payment cards if she doesn't have cash. Is it possible to add money using another debit card?
Yes, absolutely. You can go to any of our walk-up
Ticket
centers
windows?
or ticket windows, and you can load money that way. And there are some HEBs, I believe, where you're able to load money, or you can do it online.
Right. So we do want to encourage anybody who's listening to us, if you have problems or questions concerning fair payment and how that you can handle that, if you want to use a debit card, want to load money onto your Go card to use it on the bus or the van or a paratransit van, please feel free to give us a call at 210-362-2020. That's our Go line. Or you can go to any of our ticket windows, and one of our field representatives will be happy to help you and walk you through that process and help you get your money loaded onto one of our cards, or to help you learn how to use your card on our system. So we do have a call from Mark. Mark, what is your question?
Yes, I've noticed that it doesn't happen always, but it happens enough where, especially on the little vans, they'll book 2 people at the same time with wheelchairs. So sometimes you're stuck for an hour because they have to drop off the person, whichever person they picked up first. Will your new software prevent that?
That's an excellent question. And I think that it will end up helping alleviate that type of issue because it has more technology to be able to see, because you are scheduling these trips in advance and to be able to facilitate, quicker rides for everyone. But that's definitely one of the things that they can take a look at and make changes if at all possible, for sure.
Yeah, so we should remember when we're going through this process of building that technology that we look at that question.
Absolutely.
We do have a call from Virginia. Virginia, you're live.
Yes. When we go grocery shopping, we are only allowed to bring 2 bags on the van. We're no longer allowed to bring our little baskets.
That is correct. Our policy is that you're only to have 2 bags and they have to fit onto your lap. I know that there are times that they can accommodate the basket, but it depends on the kind of vehicle that you're being booked onto and on how busy that vehicle is at the time. But I would recommend planning to follow the 2 bag rule. That said, the Via Link zones, you do have the ability to use those trips, and they don't have those same limits. So you have a little more flexibility. Plus, those trips can be done same day if you'd like. So you might check to see if you are in a Via Link zone that might be another option, or even a taxi subsidy trip too.
Thank you for that.
Also, You know, that person that said about, and I noticed one time, several times when I'm riding on that Via bus, I know you're supposed to pick up, they're supposed to drop off, first person first, or whatever they changed it to, but they bypass a person's appointment thing, like that person said, and go take that person way out. And it seems like since they're right there at your stop, they can just zip up in there and drop you off and then go on to way across the other side of town. And then they have to come back to your side of town when they can already just drop you off and don't have to come back. That's a double trip to me. How come y'all don't do that? Let them drop a person off. They bypassing that person's destination. Drop that person off.
Yeah, it's a scheduling consideration. They do have a schedule to follow, and it accounts for getting people to their destination by the drop-off time, not necessarily in a particular order based on when they board the van. And it sounds counterintuitive, but if they stop and drop off the person that they're getting ready to drive past their drop-off location, those minutes that they stop and let the person off and then get back on the road may make the next person late to their spot. So it does seem like it would take, a less time to just drop them off, but in the end, it ends up keeping the service more efficient. But those are excellent points, and I can definitely understand the frustration when it's a longer trip and you're weaving to your location as you go past, right? And we'll definitely be looking at that with the software.
All right, thank you for the question. We now have a Facebook question from Pamela, and she's asking if VIAtrans service will ever expand farther out. She has to travel 4 miles from home to a Circle K in order to use the service. And thank you so much for that question. I don't know where exactly you live, but basically the communities that have Via service and the VIAtrans service, they vote into the service area, and that's something that's handled by the communities that individuals live in. And so I would encourage you to maybe talk to your city council and let them know about your question, to see if maybe they might be interested in considering having Via in their service area. I would like to remind you that if you have questions for us, we'd love to hear them. This is an opportunity for you to get to hear directly from the staff about concerns or questions you might have. So please call in and press *3. We now have a question from Serviano. Serviano?
Yes. Hello?
Yes, we're here.
I've been in the hospital for a week, and it looks like I might be here for a couple more days. I use Via all the time, and you're the only reliable transportation I have. Will not using Via for a week and a half affect my service?
No.
I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well, and I want to reassure you that you're in no danger of losing your service. Even if you're not actively taking trips or using the bus and tapping your card, any form of our service, we do not end service for that. You're eligible to be able to continue using your service until the certification end date on your card. And so you're likely going to be just fine. As long as your card hasn't expired, then you don't have anything to worry about for your service.
And regarding expired cards or cards that are going to be expired soon for our listeners, what they have to do is just give your office a call and make arrangements. Do they have to come in, or can you do it remotely, just update their card if they've got the photo on file?
So we do mail out the cards 2 months before they expire.
Okay.
And we send them out to the mailing address on file. As long as we have a good mailing address, then we send it out and you get your new card, and it's a seamless process. And after the 2 months, your one expires. If you don't get it and it's less than 2 months, then give us a call and we'll help figure out what's going on.
Great. That's great. So we would like to ask our listeners another poll question. And our poll question is, are you currently using ViaTrans online services to manage your reservations? I think we had a couple of callers who mentioned using it, but we'd like to know, those of you who are participating in this Tele-Town Hall, if you use the service. If you do use the service, please press 1 if your answer is yes, and press 2 if your answer is no. And again, the question is, are you currently using ViaTrans online services to manage your reservations? So we would like to move on to another live caller that we have. Her name is Tammy. Tammy, what is your question?
My question is, are you allowed to ask for a bathroom break when you've been on the bus for 2 hours?
Yeah, unfortunately, our drivers are not able to make what we call comfort stops. They're not able to stop for individuals to use the restroom or anything like that. That's why we do recommend that before, right before your vehicle arrives, that you use the restroom and pack the water and things that you might need for an extended trip. Since our service, it does match what a Via bus trip would be, and the bus is not able to make those comfort stops. And so our ViaTrans is not either.
Thank you for that call. We now have a call from Mariah. Mariah, you're on with us live.
Hi. My first question is, are you able to implement in the app what kind of payment you're going to use? Like, for students, free, cash, card, whatever. And my second question is, you put in a year ago that students ride free with their student ID. Some drivers don't know that students ride free with their student ID. Are you able to tell those drivers again to do that? Because sometimes they have to, like I tell them I ride free, and I show them my ID, my student ID and my regular ID, and they have to call it in to make sure I ride free.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry that you've had trouble with it. So for ViaTrans, it's not all students that ride free. It's the college campuses
The
that
college
have.
students, yeah, the college students. But some drivers, when I show my student ID, they have to call it in because they don't know that I ride free.
Yeah, those do have to be. I'm sorry. Yeah. So for students that are riding, if you're going to a participating college, when you're scheduling the reservation, you do have to indicate at the time of reservation that you are a student and are going to be using it. That way the driver is made aware because they put a notation down. The drivers are not, they don't have the ability because they don't know which colleges participate.
Right.
And your other question about the payment method on the app, yes, it is my understanding that will be added into the app.
And another thing about that is, can you put the students ride free with the participating colleges on the app? Because I'm a student at a university, and I usually book my trips online, and when I do it online, it says a normal pay, but when I go on the bus, the drivers have to verify that I ride free because I do it online. I don't really do it on the phone. I do it mostly online, and they always have to call it in.
All right, we'll look into that and follow up with that. That's a great question. Thank you for sharing that with us. We now have a Facebook question, and Carolyn, it's related to the weather. The days have been really hot, and we're only in the month of May, and so we have a question regarding that. What is Via's hot weather day? What are Via's hot weather day guidelines? We've had 100-degree days already. Is it acceptable to wait inside my place of work until my ride arrives? And will the driver come inside if the temperature is over 100 degrees?
Yeah, it's crazy that we're having this weather already. As far as our extreme weather days, we do have a policy in place where when Via decides to make it an extreme weather day for our ViaTrans patrons, you'll get a call that lets you know that you are okay to wait inside, and that the driver that they'll call or come to the door when they get there But that is and it's a, and I honestly, I'm not certain. It's either 100 degrees or 100 heat index. I'd have to double check on that. But either way, in order for it to be a hot weather day, you would get the phone call letting you know. So make sure we have a good phone number for you.
All right, thank you for your question. And so we now have the results of our second poll question, which was regarding our VIAtrans online services and whether or not you are using the service. And we have 35% that say yes, they are using the VIAtrans online services. And we have 65% who say no, they are not. So can you we've got another live caller, but can you tell us really quickly, maybe let our listeners know how that works and what that is? The VIAtrans online services?
Yes, absolutely. The VIAtrans online service is it's a link that you can get to through our website, and it lets you schedule trips online. And that way you don't have to call and talk to someone. You can schedule them right there and then track your trip in real time.
Great. And so if you'd like more information on that, we've got information on our website.
Absolutely.
Or again, you can call the reservation agents and they can certainly help you with that. We do have a live call from Patsy. Patsy, what is your call? What is your question?
Yes. My question is, why, when you have macular and you're considered blind, why, and I have door-to-door in my folder, why don't they come to the door to get me? Because I can't really see. And I've had, not a lot of them, but some of them that don't come to my door to get me. And my driveway is not the type that it's flat, that it goes down, and I'm afraid to fall. And I have called them and told them to do a door-to-door. And also, how come they cannot come into my driveway, the small vans? How come if we give them permission to come into my driveway, if we sign something saying, okay, I'm responsible if you come into my driveway, that if I fall or something. They don't have that. And also, I need for them to go get me when I'm in the office with a doctor, because I cannot see. If they can park there and I cannot see, if they don't call me, I don't know that they're there. So those are my questions.
Yes, thank you very much. And those are definitely issues that we work on, making sure we provide the best service that we can to our community. For the assist-to-door, the door-to-door service, you do have to apply, and the criteria have nothing to do with you, the rider, but it's a safety issue. Right. And so it's slope of the driveway, uneven surfaces, things like that have to be, they have to be secure, and it can't be more than 50 feet from the van. They can't lose sight of it. There's a whole bunch of criteria. If you call, we can take a look and see to my office, Accessible Services, which is 362-2140. And we can take a look at your case specifically. You can also call customer service and they can get a message to my department. As far as pulling into the driveway, again, it's a safety thing, and it's not about liability for you, it's for the vehicle and the other patrons that are in it and the driver. So unfortunately, we just don't have the ability to go into driveways. For doctor offices, we do get this request sometimes, and unfortunately, though, it is a replacement for the regular fixed route bus service. So we do the best we can to provide as much service as we can, but we just can't have the driver go inside the building to get people because they would lose sight of the van and the people that are on board. And that's why we do need people to come down to be at the curb when the van arrives.
And we do sometimes send supervisors out to do site visits when somebody's making the request of having the van pull into their driveway or into a location that they typically wouldn't go to. Correct?
Absolutely. We're always happy to have a supervisor come out and take a look anytime.
Yes. So thank you for that. We now have Marianne on the line. Marianne, please share your question with us.
Yes. Hello. Yes. My question is, usually they would call and remind you of the next day what time your van was going to come pick you up. And lately, I guess there's been a discrepancy with your system, and I haven't gotten the calls. I don't get the calls in the evening letting me know to remind me what time they're picking me up, because sometimes I do forget, but I write it down on my calendar. But they usually remind you. They call and remind you to let you know what time your VIAtrans bus is going to come pick you up.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like there may be an issue with the phone number we have on file. I would recommend giving us a call so that we can make sure that we both have the good phone number for your call ahead notifications, and that you have the next day reminders set up. It may be that something happened and there's been some kind of a change, but I would definitely call to find out so we get you those reminders. Absolutely.
So can
Okay, and
any of our, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marianne. All right. Our next caller is Alan. Alan, you're on the line.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I would like to know what your advice or what's your policy about tipping. And I know you don't tip VIAtrans drivers, but how's about the will call taxis and that other taxi service that I didn't even know about, the same day taxi service?
Yeah, no, that's we do not do tipping for our drivers, and the taxi subsidy. There is no policy for tipping. That's up to you. Via Link, there is no tipping for that. Also, that's an extension of our fixed route bus service, much like our regular buses. So there's not tipping involved with that either.
So it's up to you, right?
It's up
Up to
for
the
the taxi.
client.
Yes.
Yeah, for the taxi service,
Oh.
right? All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Alan. Our next
Thanks.
caller is, oh, go ahead. Oh, our next caller is Albert. Albert, you're on.
Hi, my name is Albert. I appreciate all what VIAtrans has done for me, and also the taxi service. But I found that on the weekends it is extremely difficult to get any response from the taxi service. I've waited up to 2 hours for them, and just decided that I had to make other arrangements. And so I'm just wondering, is there someone monitoring how long how long they take to help the VIA customers with the pickups? Because I'm blind, and so it's hard for me to be waiting for 2 hours, and it's a safety issue for me, and they can't give me any details regarding when they'll be coming. All they say, call back in 15 minutes, and so it could be, like I said, an hour, 2 hours, so it seems kind of, and I've heard the trainer of the taxi service said that we're a low priority because of that they would rather deal with other customers than with the VIAtrans customers, and so it's kind of made me feel vulnerable. But I just wanted to share that with y'all, and if y'all have some kind of y'all managing this, more carefully, or what are my options?
I would recommend that you call the 362-2020, the customer service number, and report that each and every time that you have that experience. That is not at all what we want, and that's not what we're told is being given to our customers as far as the service. So we definitely want to address that. I'm very sorry that that's been your experience. That should not be the case.
Yeah, we apologize for that. And just for all those who are listening online, when you do have a situation that doesn't feel right, or you're disappointed in the service, please let us know. Give us a call at our Go line on 362-2020, and we do look into the concerns that come into that line. So before we go to our next caller, we do have our final poll question, and we hope that you will participate in this. The question is, are you aware that VIAtrans customers can use Via's bus service for free and take a companion at no cost to them? If you do know about this service and your answer is yes, press 1. If you did not know about this service, press 2. And that's no, so press 2. And again, we just want to ask the question, are you aware that VIAtrans customers can use Via's bus service for free and take a companion with them at no cost? So we'll look forward to your responses to that. And while we're doing that, we will go on to Etta. Etta, what is your question? Ed, are you there? All right, then we will go on to Joe. Joe, do you have a question for us? Joe, are you there?
Yes. Yes, my question is, I usually set appointments through the phone, and I let them know I'm using a rollator. I have difficulty using my legs. I don't have much strength on it. So I'm always hoping I get a VIAtrans van with a lift, but unfortunately I get a van, and it makes it very hard for me. And I'm wondering, like, you're letting them know that you're using a rollator. Can you accommodate us for that?
So with the rollator, it is our understanding when people are using a rollator that they are able to step up and down at least somewhat. So if you are having trouble with getting in and out of the van with your rollator, I would talk to the reservations and let them know that, or you can call the customer service number at 362-2020, and they can have a supervisor come talk to you and see what the issue is to see if we can limit or exclude the kinds of vehicles that come to pick you up to make sure that that you're able to be transported safely.
Sure, thank you. So we want to give the results of our last poll question, which was, are you currently using VIAtrans online services to manage? No, I'm sorry. The question was, are you aware that VIAtrans customers can use VIAtrans bus service for free and take a companion as well at no cost? And 44% of you said yes, you are aware of the service, and 56% of you indicated that you are not aware that this is available to you. So we invite you to take advantage of that when you can use our bus service. To take it, you ride for free, and you can bring someone with you at no cost as well. So we're coming to the end of our show, but we do have one more caller that we would like to hear from, and that is Diane. Diane, what is your question?
Yes, hi. I do a lot of traveling, and I leave from my house early in the morning because I take early flights out. I just heard that going to the grocery store, you take 2 bags, but when you're going to the airport, I take 1 bag and a carry-on. Is that going to change? Because I'm leaving in August, and I'm flying Southwest, and they pick me up at my house about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I check in at the curbside. So will that stop me from using Via door-to-door going to the airport?
Yeah, our policy hasn't changed. Our policy has always been that you're only allowed to take 2 bags, and they must be able to fit on your lap. So I would recommend that you reach out to reservations and just double check with them if they have any recommendations, or if they can put a notation that you're traveling and need to take a suitcase with you. And that way we make sure that you don't have any trouble on the day of your flight.
Thank you. And we want to thank all of you for joining us today for this Tele-Town Hall. We are coming to the end of our live event this afternoon. And we want to thank all of you for taking the time to join us in this important conversation. We appreciate the opportunity to speak with you directly and to talk to you and answer your questions. If you were not able to get your question answered this afternoon, you can leave a voicemail after the event by simply staying on the call when we end this meeting. And you'll be transferred into our voicemail system, and you can leave your question there. We will be responding to you once we get that information from you. You can also send us your questions by email to cust.serv@viainfo.net, or you can call our office at 210-517-4715. The person online will take your information so that we can answer your questions. If you'd like to learn more about VIAtrans service, you can look us up on the website at viainfo.net/VIAtrans, and we look forward to continuing to serve you. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you and appreciate that you're using our service to get to your destinations. And if you ever have any questions, you can call us at 210-362-2020 or look us up on the website at viainfo.net. Thank you so much and have a good afternoon.